This is Logi 101 102. In light of our big ass deployment thing, I wanted to make sure that everyone is up to speed. Make sure that we have all the basics covered, especially because we do have people joining all the time, and while it is true that we do get a lot of returners, we get a lot of people who are already experienced pilots and are just looking for a change of pace by joining Brave. I also don't want to assume that everyone knows how to do everything, so hence this class. A big part of any fleet is going to be the Logi. While there are some fleet comps that you can do without Logi, namely things like Corms, it is generally a bad idea to undock without some Logi. It's kind of sketchy to go without Logi in most cases. In fact, I think there was a point, I don't know about Brave, but at one point in my own EVE career, I was in a corp where if you didn't have the right number of Logi, nobody was getting SRP. So it was very important to have enough Logi, or if there was content and we didn't have enough Logi, we just didn't undock. Logi is extremely important. This is the healer. If you compare it to other MMOs, this is your cleric. This is your your medic or whatever. Like these are the ones who repair other ships. Logi is fun because it is way more active than DPS. At the same time, that can also be stressful for people. Some people really do just want to be F1 monkeys, and that's okay. You need lots of F1 monkeys to make a fleet work. So, you might try this today, and you might decide, maybe not for me. But also, it's okay to sometimes fly Logi and sometimes not. I'll be completely transparent with you. I usually don't fly Logi in big fleets. I do not find flying Logi in big fleets especially fun for me, because I'm used to a very different environment in flying Logi. And so for you all, if you haven't been outside of nullsec or you haven't done Logi before and this is your first time doing Logi, you're gonna do fine, and it's not gonna be like that for you because you don't have the experience that I have of doing Logi a very, very different way than the way we do things here at Brave. So there's a comment in Fleet that says, to be fair, in very big fleets, you don't really matter as Logi until Alpha dies down enough that people can actually catch reps. I disagree with that. I would strongly disagree with that. I think there's a number of situations where I think, yes, Alpha is something to there's only so much you can do, right? If the Alpha is high enough that they can pop ships in one go, there's not much you can do about it as Logi, and you do have to wait until you whittle down the enemy fleet. But on the other hand, a lot of times the shooting doesn't start with shooting. The shooting starts with webs. The shooting starts with scrams. The shooting starts with newts, things like that, things to separate and isolate the primary target. And if the DPS pilot is paying attention, they will be able to broadcast seconds before they get all that alpha damage. And if you can get reps on them in time, you just might be able to keep them up. There's a lot of ifs in there, I know, but so Logi will sometimes have its own anchor. Um, so sometimes this is referred to as a Logi FC or a Logi anchor, and their whole purpose is to keep the Logi at the very back of the fleet, right? So ideally, you have the Logi in the very back with the DPS in the middle and the tackle in the front, and then the enemy fleet past that. So you, ideally, as Logi, are going to be the furthest away from the fuckery that is the fighting. And you want to be able to rep. You want to be able to rep people from behind. Ideally, they don't see you at all. Oftentimes, our fits are designed this way so Logi will sometimes have ABs in a doctrine that is micro warp drive, which is well, it's kind of a pain in the ass, if we're being honest here, because it means you're going to be putt lead butt while everybody else is going zoom zoom. But it does mean that you're going to be behind the DPS. And so if they face check the enemy, you're going to be safely behind everyone else. That said, Logi is often primary. It is a quick and dirty way to eliminate a fleet is to take out their Logi first, so that you can easily break through their DPS tank. If you can get rid of the Logi, you have practically already killed the fleet. So those are some things to keep in mind when we talk about Logi. Now, if I can have everyone in their ospreys go ahead and undock. All right. So there are essentially two types of Logi ship. There is cap chain and there is solo. Now, a lot of our doctrines allow for either one, right? So on the shield side, we have the cap chain ospreys, basilisks, and then on the solo side, we have the scythe or the scimitar. On the armor side of things, we have, for cap chain, we have the augur or the guardian. And on the solo side, we have the executor and the Oneros. Solo Logi tend to be faster than their cap chain analogs. They are great for small gang. You can use them in fleets as supplemental. They're not necessarily going to rep as much as the cap chain buddies, but they are still incredible and worth training into, right? So if you decide, or you've already decided that you want to be a Logi pilot and you are here to learn more, you want to train into both, right? Eventually you'll want to be able to fly the scimitar and the basilisk. You'll want to fly the guardian and the Oneros. Now, to get us started on the practical side, I am going to link a channel and I want all the ospreys to jump into that channel real quick. That is going to be, we're going to pretend that's your Logi channel, right? So at the beginning of any fleet, if you are in a cap chain Logi ship, you want to make sure that you are in the Logi channel. Because what we do with the Logi channel is we use that to set up the cap chain, right? So you've got a number of reppers on your top, but you've also got two cap transmitters, right? So that you can share cap with your other Osprey pilots. So for this example, we're going to do one up, one down, which means that if you look at the list of all the people in my danger room, you're going to see one that's above you and one below you. I want you to lock up that person and start transmitting. I want you to start transmitting cap to that person, the one above you and the one below you. If you are at the very top or the very bottom, then you're going to just kind of do like a loop around. Okay, lock up the keep star first. And then you can unlock the keep star once you've got your cap buddies locked up. Okay, good. I'm seeing some cap transfer here. Excellent. Is anyone having trouble getting that set up?
I'm getting trouble with the lock.
Did you lock the keep star first? Also, hello. And now I want you to, everybody's going to have to do a little adjustment here. So I want you to look at the person above you and the person who's beneath you in the channel, right? Because we're simulating the Logi channel that will get linked at the beginning of fleets, right? And it's very important that if you're flying cap chain Logi that you are in this channel. It is also very important that you leave the channel when you are not on grid. Okay? Is everybody getting cap from their cap buddies?
I locked the mothership, but then I'm trying to lock you because you're not on my channel actually. Okay.
I think you have to lock me.
Yeah, I have to lock Serena and Exo.
Mm-hmm.
But for some, I cannot lock them.
Okay. Looks like you had it there for a second. So they're all transferring cap to each other. So you should be able to lock them up.
I got Serena now.
Okay. Alright, so we are going to do some practicals. A few more practicals here. How many, put X's in fleet if you've never flown Logi before. Okay, good. So all of you have some experience, right?
I did a few fleets.
Okay. Okay. So you all know to look for the broadcast, right? If you look at your broadcast history tab on your fleet window, when somebody requests shield, it's going to go up. Now, I am going to shoot myself with an alt. And I want you all to make sure that you rep me when I broadcast. Please don't let me die. What are your ranges for reps?
27 optimal.
Say again?
Same.
27 optimal.
27 optimal. Okay.
That's Cavalry Cruiser 5. Oh, no, never mind. That's doesn't matter.
All right. Broadcast is in. There we go. So, you all are doing a spectacular job of repping me, but now I'm going to add a little challenge to this, and this is where the 102 part comes in. I'm going to call a name from the Ospreys, and I want you to warp off to the Fortizar, and I want the remaining pilots to adjust your cap. The person who warps off, I want you to leave the danger room channel as you're warping off, so that the remaining Logi can continue to have a regular, like, accurate picture of who is on grid, who is doing repping, right? Let's have Exo warp off to the Fortizar. Be sure to leave the danger room channel when you warp off, and then rejoin it when you come back. You all are going to adjust your cap chain accordingly. Go ahead and warp off to the Fortizar. Wait till I say to come back. Exo. Go ahead and warp off.
Yeah, I am.
Perfect. All right. Are you all adjusting your cap chain?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So anytime that if something happens, either you die or you you have to step away in real life and you warp off, make sure that you leave the Logi channel, right? And those of you that are remaining, make sure that you adjust your cap chain to accommodate for the fact that things have changed. If you notice that there is something weird or funky about the cap chain, maybe you're getting too much cap, maybe you're not getting enough cap, you can speak up in comms. Make sure not to shout, just whisper. But you can speak up in comms and say something like, Logi, check cap chain. And if there's somebody who's in the Logi channel who's not on grid, go ahead and, give them a friendly call out. Just let them know, hey, you're kind of screwing up the Logi chain here. Always be classy about it, of course. Now, do your Ospreys, do they come equipped with ECMs? Yes, no, maybe so?
No.
Okay. We will skip that for today. That's something I'd like to become a thing that we teach Logi, but if we don't have ECMs in the practice Ospreys, that's okay. Logi, go ahead and adjust cap chain. So now we are going to do a quick drill. I want you all to get in the habit of repping each other as well, because if you all can't stay alive while being shot at and keep yourselves up, well, you're in real trouble.
What about poor Exo? Which is
Exo,
so
come
far
back.
away.
Sorry.
Where's?
Exo's like, so when do I get to come back?
I was ready.
Permanent exile. Oh.
No, you stay at the Fortizar.
Good. Does anyone know when, ideally, somebody is going to broadcast?
When they get yellow boxed?
When it's too late.
When it's too late. Oh, that's good. Yes, that is Aussie. That is correct. Yes, when they get yellow boxed. Ideally, that's when the broadcast comes in. Obviously, that's not possible. I've tried to simulate what will likely happen in a big fight where multiple targets are going to get locked up, so you don't know when they're shooting what, right? You could be primary, you could be secondary. You might not even get shot at because they might single you out as a potential target, and then they completely decide to do something different, and so they switch targets completely, and a minute later you're not even yellow boxed anymore. So congratulations, right? Okay. Let's have Anka swap off to the Fortizar.
Need reps?
So that's another thing. If you are taking a lot of damage and you're not getting any reps, definitely speak up. If you just started taking damage, right? I would just broadcast. If it's like you broadcast and nobody notices you, well then that's a problem. All right. Come on back from the exile of the Fortizar, just so I don't forget. All right, so now that we've got that going, let's do a little practice. We're gonna warp around a few places and get the Logi. Let's get the cap chain up and going as quickly as we can. Let's get the cap chain going. And you may find that you have to wiggle around a little bit because when you land or something like that, you will have a little bit of invulnerability, which is very annoying if you're trying to establish a cap chain and there's that one person who has not broken their invuln. Just speak up in comms or type in fleet chat, or probably not fleet chat, probably the cap chain channel, right? The Logi channel. Go ahead. All right, go ahead and stop your ships. Stop your ships and then anchor up on me. Going on a little brave adventure.
Anchor to you means to keep a distance from you, right?
Yep, keep it right click and keep at range 1000. You got it. So today we're in Ospreys because that is a very cheap handout ship that we can use for training. If they blow up, it's not the end of the world. It's all good. In fleets where you have Ospreys and Bazzies, it is really important that you try to share cap with other Osprey pilots, as opposed to sharing with Ospreys and Bazzies. Can anyone guess why?
The amount.
The amount of what?
The amount of cap, because I think Ospreys use large transfers, don't they? No, I mean Bazzies.
You're sort of right. like you're right. It is about the amount of cap chain, but it's also it's a combination of the module and the bonuses to cap transfer, right? So the BASI is going to be able to transfer cap at a rate that the Osprey cannot. And if you're constantly giving out cap in a basilisk, right, to an Osprey who cannot give you back close to the same amount of cap, you're going to get capped out, right? You're either not going to be able to run your hardeners, or you're not going to be able to run your MWD, which is probably the most cap intensive thing you've got, right? So it's really important to try and pair up with other Ospreys. Obviously, that may not always be possible, right? A lot of people have trained into Basilisks and Guardians for the armor. So you may not find, another T1 buddy to work with. If you find that you are the only cap chain buddy, it would be better to just fly like a scythe, right? Or an exec if you're in armor, right? Better to fly one of the solo ships so that you're not, so that you're not transferring small amounts of cap to the BASIs. But, we've all been there. It's a long train. The other thing to keep in mind is that there is a significant difference between Logistics Cruiser 4 and Logistics Cruiser 5, right? So if you are transferring cap with someone who has Logi Cruisers 4 and you have Logi Cruisers 5, because you're that much of a gamer, right? It is important to be aware that that person with the Logi Cruiser 4 might struggle to give you enough cap, right? And so you're going to have to manage your cap more carefully than they will. They'll be able to do whatever they want with their cap. They're going to be able to run all their reppers, their hardeners, the MWD, all that good stuff. You, on the other hand, are probably going to have to pulse your MWD. You might have to turn off the hardeners when you're not being targeted, all that kinds of stuff, right? Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, we got a question. We've got a question. What fleets will allow me to take this Osprey on it? You will know. You will know two ways. One, it will be linked in the MOTD when you join the fleet. Two, you can ask, right? So if there's a basilisk, right? If there's a basilisk listed in the MOTD but not the Osprey, you can ask the FC, hey, I can only fly the Osprey. Is it cool if I fly the Osprey? Any other questions, comments, confusions, things like that?
That's quite a commitment, the Logi 5. I'm at 4 at the moment. It's 30 days, that's...
Yep, it is definitely a commitment. I think that was my first 30-day skill that I trained. And boy, was I not happy about it. And I have to train it again on another character.
RIP.
Yep. But it's okay. I'm at the point now where I'm used to training, skills take 20 to 30 days to train. So I would say, because I know people are looking at the stats and stuff, I would say if you have Logi Cruisers 4, just make sure that you pay attention to the fitting, right? Because we have fits for some of our ships some of our Logi ships have specific fittings for pilots who have Logi 4, right? I think the Scimitar is one of them, right? So just make sure that you're flying the correct fit for your skills. It's not as dire, it's not as bad to pair up a Bazzi pilot who has Logi Cruiser 4 with a Logi pilot who has Logi Cruiser 5, right? That's not quite as bad as pairing up an Osprey with a Bazzi. Is that at Caldari 5 though? Caldari Cruiser 5, Serena?
The bonus from the roll bonus from the Osprey is what gives you the amount, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. You know, it may be that on paper they transfer the same. I'm just telling you from experience that the Osprey just does not seem to. It struggles to keep up with the Bazzi, and it's a real pain in the middle of a fleet to tell someone, hey, you're not transferring enough cap. What's up? And sometimes what it is they are cycling for whatever reason, they're cycling their cap transfer mod. I don't know why you would cycle your cap, but people do weird things sometimes when they're confused or they're new. But yes, that's also probably part of it, Serena. The Osprey is incredibly squishy. You sneeze on it and it blows up. The Bazzi is sadly not much tankier, unfortunately, and it will die if you look at it the wrong way.
Sorry, I joined late, but so the advice is try and fly a Bassi whenever we can.
Yeah, so
I've just literally scraped together enough money to put a Bassi, Doctrine Fit Bassi together, but it's kind of emptied me out cash-wise. So happy to fly it. Just want to know if I should turn up with an Aussie or if I should just turn up with a Bassi by default.
If you can fly the Bazzi, fly the Bazzi.
Okay.
Make sure. My advice would be make sure that you insure the ship when you can, and apply for SRP if you lose it. And I gotta warn you, you will lose it, right? I know you're joining late, but one of the things I said towards the beginning of the class is Logi gets primaried a lot, right?
No, that's great advice. Thank you. The SRP takes this thing out of it a little bit. I want to be useful, right? So,
right.
Sounds like turning up with a Bassi is the right thing to do. So
oh, absolutely, yeah. And eventually, hopefully, how long ago did you join Brave?
Quite a while ago, but I took a break from the game for a while, so kind of just getting back into it. I actually took a break during the big war, so I had to move all of my stuff from the old home base to K7 and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So once you, well, first, welcome back. Once you get your money stuff situated, right? Your ISK making and all that good stuff, it will be easier, and get your hangar sorted and stuff. You probably have, I'm guessing you have some ships that you can just get rid of, right? Just sell them off.
Yep.
Because they're probably no longer doctrine and all that good stuff. And also, if you're struggling to buy the doctrine ships, and FC's saying I need more Logi, and it's like, don't be ashamed to say, I would fly this, I just don't have the money for it right now in fleet, right? And somebody can help you out. I have definitely handed out my ships. I fly a lot of DPS and special roles, right? Snowflake roles. So a lot of recons, a lot of a lot of stuff like that. And I will hand out my Logi ships for people to use. But definitely, like, just let the FD know, like, hey, I don't have the money for this right now, but I would fly it if somebody could loan me the ship, or somebody has an extra, whatever. Um, definitely speak up in fleet chat if you are willing to fly it and you just are shy on ISK at the time. I think we've all been there for one reason or another. Hopefully it's not because of your gambling habits on the hypernet. Any other questions, comments, concerns, conundrums? Alright, we're going to wrap up the class then. If I can ask a huge favor of all of you, if you have the time and energy, I just linked a Dojo class feedback form. Tell me how much you hate me, how much you hate my classes, how disorganized I am, all that good stuff. I will still love you and think the world of you. But no, seriously, please do leave feedback. Feedback does help us do better. And, hopefully we can get more of these classes structured in a way that's meaningful to you. I really did like the suggestion of having like a refresher course. I'm not sure how I would design that, but it's definitely worth doing, I think, having some sort of refresher course on different topics for people who are just returning to the game, so they don't have to go over all the basics, but they can still be reminded of how to do random stuff. It's a great suggestion. Otherwise, I wish you all the very best, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Fly safe, and I'll see you in Fleet sometime.
I
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.